The story begins in the year 1965. The Civil War inside America was reaching its final days. At that time, we see a captain holding a gold coin. He was loading several crates, filled with such coins onto a ship. On top of these crates, the letters CSA were written. Suddenly, they were attacked. But the captain quickly launched the ship into the water and shut off all its engines, so that in the darkness, no one would be able to detect it. And that's exactly what happened. He escaped from enemies. Hey guys, before we go further, don't forget to smash that like button. And if you're new here, hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss an upload. We're on the road to our first 1,000 subscribers, and every bit of support really means a lot. Now the story moves to the present day, where a doctor named Sofia is sitting inside a van. This van is currently in the city of Africa. A mysterious disease has started spreading rapidly in this city. Upon examining a new patient, it was discovered that he was also infected with the same disease, one they still didn't understand. The patient's mother revealed that a few days earlier, he had gone to the country of Mali with his father, and after returning, his condition had worsened. Sofia put the patient in the vehicle and told her senior, "Now count him as well. That makes 6 in total. We should quickly report this file to WHO." But her senior believed that with so few cases, no one would take them seriously. Sofia, however, wanted to go to Mali herself and find out what exactly was causing people to get sick there. At that time, Mali was going through an internal conflict. Her senior warned her, "No one will ever give you permission to enter such dangerous conditions." Meanwhile, a masked man was secretly watching them. Perhaps he didn't like these doctors being here. Sofia then realized she should also collect a sample from the patient's father. She went to the lighthouse, where he worked. Upon arrival, she discovered that he was in the same condition as his son, but he had already died from the disease. Sofia quietly took his sample and left. Meanwhile, in the nearby sea, a man was out boating. The masked man, who had been watching from a distance, suddenly attacked Sofia. But the boating man arrived just in time and saved her. In the scuffle, however, the masked man managed to snatch Sofia's bag and escape. When Sofia regained consciousness, she found herself on a ship called Noma, a vessel used by treasure hunters at sea. Outside was the same man who had saved her life. His name was Doug. Doug had just surfaced with a precious statue he had retrieved from the sea. These treasure hunters were actually searching for the very same CSA ship, though no trace of it had ever been found. Soon Almora, the owner of the ship, arrived. He instructed Doug, "The treasure we found needs to be displayed at tonight's museum party. Get it cleaned up quickly." Later, Doug went to meet a Nigerian dealer. At the party, the priceless statue was unveiled before everyone. It was, in fact, from the tomb of an African king, worth billions. The dealer showed Doug a coin engraved with CSA. Doug immediately recognized it and exclaimed, "This has been my dream for years. No one has ever discovered where that ship disappeared." At the party was also the owner of Mascot Company, who had funded the treasure hunt. This man had strong connections in Mali. Sofia approached him for help in getting there. The owner warned her, "Going there is extremely dangerous, but if you still insist, I'll try to arrange a way." Not long after, Doug also arrived and showed the CSA coin to James, the company owner. Doug explained that the coin was found by a man living in Mali, and he believed the wreck of the CSA ship was also hidden somewhere in Mali. James was delighted to hear this and granted Doug and Almora 3 days in Mali to search for the ship. If they found even the slightest clue, a full-scale operation to recover the ship would be launched. The next day, when they arrived at the port, they found Sofia and Dr. Jack already waiting. Sofia explained that James had agreed to let her and Jack accompany them to Mali. And so, the 5 of them set off for Mali. That night over dinner, Doug shared the story of the CSA coin with Sofia and confessed that finding this ship had been his childhood dream. Upon arriving in Mali, Sofia and Jack went their own way, while Doug and the others visited the home of the man who had originally found the coin. But they discovered he had already died. Once again, the trail to the lost ship seemed to vanish. Then Doug spotted a mosque nearby. The 3 of them went inside and spoke with a man there. Often, Such religious places keep old records. Upon Doug's inquiry, the man checked the archives and revealed that many years ago, a ship had indeed docked at the port, but no one on board had survived. The water current had been so strong that the ship drifted further away. This piece of information was extremely valuable for Doug. He immediately went to James to share the discovery, and he told James everything. Without wasting time, they all headed toward Java City, which was a little further ahead. On the way, they discovered something inside one part of their boat. After some inspection, they realized it was a special kind of soil, possibly rust-like in nature. But Doug pointed out, it's not normal to find this kind of soil in flowing water. This is something worth thinking about. Just then, a military boat started approaching them. The officers kept repeating one question. Where's that doctor who came here with you? The king of Mali had already learned that 2 foreign doctors had entered his country, trying to uncover the truth about the mysterious disease spreading in the region. The king had ordered that they be stopped at all costs, otherwise it could cause serious trouble. Doug understood at once that something was definitely wrong. Otherwise, why would they have a problem with the doctors? He replied, Sir, we don't speak much English. Let's talk after you dock alongside. Doug threw them a rope, which they tied to their boat. Then Doug signaled his friends, full speed now. In an instant, their boat surged forward, capsizing the officer's boat. Doug quickly cut the rope, and they sped away. But the danger wasn't over yet. Just ahead, 2 more boats were waiting for them, and as soon as they spotted Doug's team, they opened fire. Doug realized, now we'll have to jump. Otherwise, we won't survive. Before jumping, they slashed the fuel tank, setting up for a massive explosion. When the enemy boats came closer, the 3 of them leapt into the water. The officers fired at their abandoned boat, and the leaking fuel caused a powerful blast that killed all of them. Soon after, the 3 swam ashore and found shelter in a house by the riverbank. Rudy asked Doug, now that we've lost the boat, are we going to stop searching for the ship? Doug replied, we'll find the ship later. First, we must save the doctors. If they get captured, they'll be killed. Doug then ordered Rudy, you cross the border quickly and go to Almora. I'll go with James to search for the doctors. Meanwhile, the 2 doctors, Sofia and Jack, had reached a village, but not a single person was in sight. They searched everywhere, but there was nothing but silence. Sofia discovered a house filled with corpses, all of them victims of the same disease. By morning, they buried all the bodies. Meanwhile, Rudy had secretly crossed the border safely. Back in the village, Sofia found a well. Thinking there might be some clue inside, she prepared to climb down. When she reached the bottom and began collecting a water sample, Jack warned her from above. Military men are here. Gunfire erupted, and aside from Jack, the soldiers killed everyone present. Terrified, Sofia hid inside the well. Just then, a helicopter landed nearby. Out stepped King Kasim of Mali. He asked Jack, where's the lady doctor? The sound of the chopper alerted Doug and James as well. They realized the doctors must be close. But Kasim was furious. He shot Jack dead and ordered his men, find Sofia immediately. Doug and James, hiding nearby, witnessed everything. Kasim's men began slaughtering everyone around. At one point, Doug's life was in grave danger, but Sofia suddenly appeared from behind and killed one of Kasim's men, saving him. The death of her senior, Dr. Jack, left Sofia deeply shaken. But Doug urged her, we must leave this place at once. It's not safe here. The 3 of them escaped Kasim's military area and reached another place, but this one turned out to be even more dangerous. Suddenly, a group of horsemen arrived, captured them, and took them to their king, Godgo. Godgo asked, what are you doing here? Sofia explained, I'm a doctor. A deadly disease has spread in your land, and I am here to investigate it. Hearing about the disease, Godgo took her to a chamber where countless people had already died from the same sickness. After examining them, Sofia confirmed, yes, all of these deaths were caused by the same disease. That's why I came here. After some thought, Godgo allowed them to stay in his city. Sofia then tested the local water supply and discovered it was poisoned, and not naturally. Someone had deliberately contaminated it. She told the king, "This poison is being added on purpose. We must find out where it's coming from." The king agreed and promised, "I'll help you in every way I can. Find the source quickly." Later, James was playing football with the village children. When the ball rolled away, he chased it and stumbled upon a strange place covered with unusual paintings. To his astonishment, the paintings depicted the ship they had been searching for. It became clear that the ship was buried somewhere in a dried-up desert nearby. Sofia and Doug joined James to see the site. Doug explained, 200 years ago, a river used to flow here, but today it has completely dried up. Now the three of them began planning how to locate this ancient river. Just then, they noticed that in the painting there was also a fort depicted. This meant that somewhere along this river's path, a fort once stood. Doug believed that the poisoned water reaching the villages might actually be coming from the same river. Perhaps the river had not completely dried up. Its water might still be flowing underground. The three of them began their journey along the route where, 200 years ago, the river once flowed. Soon, they also spotted the fort. Climbing onto it, they discovered a solar plant, owned by the Mascot company. But having a solar plant in such a deserted place made no sense. From there, Doug also noticed a train in the distance. Carefully, they made their way toward it and managed to sneak inside. Meanwhile, Rudy had already reached Almora. On his clothes, he found the same red residue they had earlier discovered on their boat in Mali. When Rudy tested the sample and showed the results to Almora, both were shocked. Back at the plant, Sofia, James, and Doug went inside and realized that the facility was actually being used to manufacture radioactive chemicals. Thanks to the scorching sunlight of the region, these chemicals were being produced quickly. Then Sofia noticed some containers being taken underground. The trio followed the workers, and when the basement door opened, they were stunned. Inside the basement were thousands of tons of radioactive and poisonous chemicals, stored there for years. Some containers were already leaking, seeping into the underground Nirja River, the very river that supplied drinking water to the whole of Mali. This was the reason the disease was spreading so fast. At the same time, Almora and Rudy took their report to the U.S. embassy. Even the officials there could hardly believe that such a thing was possible. Meanwhile, James, Sofia, and Doug were trying to escape the plant when Mascot's men captured them. Mascot confronted Sofia and asked, "What are you doing here? How did you even find this place?" Sofia replied, "Whatever you are doing here is killing innocent people." Mr. Mascot defended himself. "No, we're destroying these toxic chemicals by burning them, not spreading them." But Sofia revealed the truth. "The chemicals you have stored in the basement are leaking into the river water. People are drinking it and falling sick." Mascot looked shaken, afraid that it might be true. He ordered that Doug and James be tied up and taken away. But Doug used his wit. With the help of a gold coin, he unlocked the back of the truck, and they managed to escape. Soon after, Mascot rushed to meet Kasim and told him everything Sofia had said. Kasim coldly replied, "If you're worried, then shut down the plant. But I want my money every month. I don't care if people die." Now Doug and James were stranded in the desert, still shackled to the truck's door. Exhausted after walking a long distance, they stumbled upon a wrecked plane. Though destroyed, its wheels were still intact. Using them, they rigged up a way to glide across the sand and eventually reached a village. There, they found a telephone and called Almora to tell him the entire story. Doug sold one of the gold coins and bought a jeep. With it, Doug and James went to Godgo, asking him and his men for help against Kasim. But Godgo explained he had too few men and no heavy weapons like Kasim. He refused to fight, but gave them his vehicle, one he had earlier bought from Kasim. Using this car, James and Doug drove to the plant. At the gate, guards tried to stop them, but they forced their way inside at gunpoint. Mascot, realizing intruders had entered, rushed upstairs. To their surprise, Doug and James found the plant completely deserted. James speculated, maybe Mascot realized the truth, that people are dying because of him, and that this has already reached America. That's why they're trying to erase every trace of the plant. James hurried downstairs, searching for explosives the workers might have planted to destroy the facility. Meanwhile, a helicopter landed outside. Mascot forcibly dragged Sofia into it. Just as they were about to leave, Doug arrived and grabbed Mascot. But suddenly one of Mascot's men attacked Doug from behind, restraining him. At the last moment, Sofia jumped out of the helicopter before it could take off. Down below, James found the bomb inside a container and quickly disconnected it, preventing an explosion. Mascot, enraged that his plan failed, adjusted the solar panels to face the sun, trying to force a catastrophic overload. But thanks to James's quick action, nothing happened. Sofia and Doug overpowered Mascot's man and escaped together. The three of them fled in the car, but soon King Kasim's helicopter chased them, firing relentlessly. Doug shouted to James, "Throw those explosives you found in the basement." As James tossed them out, Kasim's bullets hit them, triggering explosions everywhere. The blasts created so much dust and smoke that Kasim was forced to pull his helicopter back. But those same explosions caused something unexpected. The shifting sand unearthed the long-lost CSA ship, buried for centuries. Seeing the ship, the three rushed inside to hide. But Kasim soon discovered them and ordered heavy fire on the wreck. His men surrounded the ship from all sides. Under attack, some containers inside the ship broke open, spilling out gold coins. Doug was stunned. He could hardly believe they were still intact after all these years. Then they discovered an old cannon inside the ship, still in usable condition. Quickly, they set it up. When Kasim's helicopter came into range, they fired. The cannonball struck with massive force, blowing up the chopper and killing Kasim. With Kasim gone, his entire army surrendered. The trio stepped out, bewildered by why such a huge force surrendered so quickly. But then they turned around and saw Godgo's men, who had quietly surrounded the area. Meanwhile, back in America, an undercover agent who had uncovered all of Mascot's secrets poisoned Mascot's drink with the same toxin he had once inflicted upon the people of Mali. Soon, Mascot would suffer the same fate as his victims. In the final scene, we see Doug and Sofia together. Doug chose to leave the treasure behind for Godgo and his people, because they had suffered the most from the disease, and the land rightfully belonged to them. The treasure was theirs by all rights. And that's how Doug, Sofia, and James uncovered the truth. A toxic river, a hidden treasure ship, and a deadly conspiracy that almost destroyed a nation. In the end, the gold was left with Godgo's people, where it truly belonged. Mascot paid the price for his greed, and Kasim's reign of terror came to a fiery end. But for Doug and Sofia, this wasn't just about treasure. It was about survival, courage, and fighting for what's right. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to smash that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more thrilling adventures explained right here. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and your support means everything. Until next time, stay curious and stay adventurous.